Hello and welcome to the Stephens College program overview of our MFA program. I'm Alexandria Miller. I'm the Director of Financial Aid and also over our graduate and online admissions. And today I have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Welch, who will be bringing us information about the program and a little bit of a Q&A today so we can help you and inform you about our program and hopefully help you make the choice of your program. Dr. Welch, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and introducing yourself.
Sure. Hello. My name is Rosanne Welch. I am from Cleveland, Ohio, and I wrote television for about 20 years. I now serve on the board of editorial staff for Written By Magazine, which is a magazine of the Writers Guild. You can actually get this online for free, digitally, and I think it's quite a great way to read about some important writers in town, the people that you would like to be. And then I also am the book review editor for the journal Screenwriting, which is an international journal of all kinds of academic articles having to do with screenwriting. That's all connected to a conference that I enjoy attending that in fact in 2023 we'll be holding on the campus at Stephens. So we're very excited. In my TV career, I wrote for Beverly Hills 90210, Picket Fences, and a long run on a show called Touched by an Angel. So I've been experienced in 1-hour dramas and pitched a lot of films. And so I'm very interested in helping other people move forward in their career.
Awesome. I didn't know about that hosting on campus. That'll be great.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So we're going to move into a little bit of a Q&A about our program. The first question is, since this is a low residency MFA, what does that mean?
It means that people who have real jobs or big jobs out in the world who can't move to Los Angeles for 2 whole years to get a master's degree with people who are actively writing in the business, they can't do that. So in low residency, they will come to LA for 10 days, twice a year, in August and in January, and they will stay at the Beverly Garland Hotel, and we will then have classes on the Jim Henson Studios lot. It's a beautiful place in La Brea. It was originally Charlie Chaplin's lot in 1918, and then it was a host to A&M Records, and then it became the Jim Henson Studios. So we hold classes there, and the classes involve bringing in writers from town who will talk about their careers. They'll do craft lectures. Then we'll also have people do workshops of writing. We will tour around town. We usually go to one of the studios for a tour, and then we'll go to the archives of the Motion Picture Academy and also the Writers Guild. We also hold panels at the Writers Guild, which is a fun event where we bring in a lot of students and a lot of alumni from around the city. And we, again, invite writers from shows that you know. We're doing one this particular go round that has people from Grey's Anatomy and SEAL Team. So we're very excited about having people in town, but that means the rest of the year, you do your other 3 courses each semester from the comfort of your own home.
Great. So, what does a typical semester look like for this program?
Well, again, you get 3 units for the 10-day workshop that you do in LA, and then that's done, right, when you go home. Then the other 3 classes, 3 units apiece, you do 1 class, which is screenplay writing, and that takes the whole year. In the fall semester, you're going to write the outline in the first act, and in the second semester, you're going to write the rest of the film and then rewrite it. So at the end of the year, you'll have 1 full film done under mentorship of a working writer. You'll have a TV class, which in the fall will be a spec script based on a show that already exists, which you can use, 1, to warm up your TV writing skills, and 2, because all the fellowships in town require a spec from an existing show. And then in spring, you write a pilot that's your own idea from scratch, which of course is also something that an agent would want in your portfolio. And then your 3rd class every semester is the one that I teach, which is the history of screenwriting. And the story behind that is that I've taken a lot of different film history courses. I've been involved in studying many of them. And I realized they tend to become history of directors, which means it's a history of great men. And that is not what I would like to teach. I would like to teach about women. And there were many, many women screenwriters across the years. So we start the first semester in the silent film era when there were more women writing screenplays than there were men. And then we move through until we get to the modern day. And then people are very excited to study the very people that they're going to see their films live right now. So it's 3 classes, 3 units apiece each semester.
Great. How large are our cohorts each semester or each entering cohort?
We look for anywhere from 20 to 24. Right now, we have about 18 in one class and 23 in the other. And so that's about where we want to be. We don't want it to be too big. Now, of course, that's the whole cohort, right? So online, you'd be taking the history class all as a group, but that involves reading and watching films at home and then writing about them. The writing classes that you'll be in are all broken up. So you generally won't have more than 5 or 6 people. And often when you get into your second year and you have a very specific type of screenplay you want to write, you might have one mentor. It'll be a one-on-one situation. So it all depends on what your goals are in the program.
And what would you say the composition of the cohorts are usually of?
Well, because we come from Stephens College, which as undergrad is an all-female university, of course, we deal with a lot of women, and that's exciting to me to bring more female voices and female-focused stories into the mainstream. And I say mainstream media now because it's not just Hollywood, it's not just films and television. We're talking about people who are doing YouTube channels and podcasts. We're talking about video games, which are a whole new world of writing that have finally figured out they should address women because half the world who want to play are women. So we're talking about that. So largely they're female-based groups, but we'll probably have anywhere from 4 to 6 guys. And that's because in continuing education, of course, we have to be open to all peoples. And that's great because frankly, if they join our program, it means they're feminists to begin with. So they're open to the idea of telling female stories. So we've had dads who have a couple of daughters and suddenly realize the world is not tuned toward what they need. And so they want to tell stories that will empower their own daughters, right? Or guys who are married to powerful, strong women. So it's really a lovely mix of people with the same goal of becoming better writers and telling better stories.
Perfect. So you touched a little bit on this, but what happens during the workshop, in the intensive week while they're there for 10 days?
As I said, we travel to several different places, which is always fun. And then on the ground, we do a variety of things. We're very excited when we bring in people. For instance, in our current upcoming workshop, we're bringing in Ellen Heinberg, who wrote the Wonder Woman film and has worked in what we call Shondaland, or the Shonda Rhimes series of shows. And he's in London right now working on a new show called Sandman with Neil Gaiman, who's a writer of great renown. And we're also bringing in Kemp Powers, who wrote the Pixar film Soul, which will open this Christmas. Last go round, we had the women who wrote Mulan with us, as well as Jane Anderson, who wrote The Wife. We've had Winnie Holtzman in before. She wrote both My So-Called Life, which is one of the most missed shows that was canceled its first season. And of course, she wrote the Broadway show Wicked. So we try to bring in as many female and underrepresented voices among the writers who are working so that we can see the world that we want to be.
So do you help our students find internships or, kind of connect them with the world that they would be in after graduation?
We, of course, have an internship credit, as all colleges do, because many places require that you be given college credit for doing an internship. So people have worked out their own. We've had people who've worked in video game companies. We've had people who work at production companies. We're just now putting together a relationship with the AFI, and they're doing a lot of work preserving the credits of films written by women in the past. And we have 3 or 4 students who are funneling into that particular internship. And then we're working with a couple of the other museums and archives around town who are also looking for students who can do work with them on female-based things. The Arch Museum, which is in Griffith Park, is doing a program on women in the archives. And so we're getting involved in that right now. So I'm excited about those opportunities because, of course, that's how you meet more people, right? And that's how you move forward in any business. Because one of the things that I think is interesting about our students is it's a nice balance of people who are testing the waters about wanting to move to Los Angeles and become writers, and people who are already academics. They're teaching at a university somewhere, but they're doing it based on their background, having done some filming. They don't have a higher degree, and so they can't move up in academia. They can't become department chairs or deans. So they want this experience, this terminal degree, so they can do that. So it's a nice blend of people interested in both aspects of studying screenwriting.
So if there wasn't, a Q&A today and you had a prospective student in front of you, what would you want them to know about our program that wasn't already talked about?
I'd want them to know that we are very focused on moving forward more women and underrepresented voices in this business, that we like to study the people who came before us for the purpose, one, of finding these many marvelous ideas that can become modern day movies again, but also because a lot of times what we find still is this old idea that, can we trust $1 million on a woman to make this film? Well, they have done it in the past. And if you know that, you can sort of counter that argument and say, well, here are all the people who've done that. So let's move on and talk about the actual story idea. So I think people need to understand they're not alone. And speaking of that, we also try hard to, let our cohorts become a good group of friends. I like to tell people that you might not get Steven Spielberg to give you a hand up because he's busy with his own world. But he started with all his buddies, George Lucas and Martin Scorsese. They were all students and friends with no real credits. And then slowly they built together. So we do rise as a group. And I think that's an important thing for people to think about.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you, and we look forward to catching up soon, hopefully.
Great. I welcome any more questions, and I hope everybody has a good day.